This man captured Bigfoot on camera. As far as most humans are concerned, Bigfoot, otherwise known as Sasquatch, are myths that don't exist. However, despite that belief, a lot of evidence has in recent times proven that indeed Bigfoots do exist. In this video, we look at this evidence all captured on camera and the future that holds for our world as humans. However, before we proceed, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now that you have subscribed, put on your seatbelt as we dive right in. 1. Oil field. There are some jobs that are more prone to having an encounter with the beast of an animal called the Bigfoot. One of such jobs is that of an oil field worker. In the case of this young man, he was sent out to the company field to inspect some equipment, and all the while he was seated in his car, he did not notice any moving figure or being in the thick winter forest. This has perhaps been linked to the skillfulness of Bigfoot in camouflaging and hiding behind covers to avoid detection. However, while seated in the car, the young man received a call from who a person suspected to be his supervisor. Having reported to the supervisor that everything was intact with the equipment he just inspected, as he was leaving, he then noticed what would shock him and leave him troubled for a long while. Upon leaving the field, a young ape-like figure was sighted perfectly hidden in between the trees, which was believed to be nothing but the dreaded Bigfoot. It indeed sent shivers down the spine of the man who after work was going through the video clip for an unrelated issue, only to discover the Bigfoot perfectly hidden. This led the man to imagine what could have gone wrong or happened, assuming the Bigfoot decided to attack him during the hike. He was just busy inspecting his oil field equipment. However, no matter how convinced the young man was of what he saw, it appeared a lot of social media users did not believe him. The first set of social media users claimed that there was nothing hidden behind the trees. Rather, it was the snow on the trees that made it look like it was indeed the legendary Bigfoot that was hiding there. The second set of social media users believed there was a creature there, but it was not the Bigfoot, as it could have been a gorilla or some other animals. Despite all these, we are keen to hear your view. Do you think that was really Bigfoot, or was the man just daydreaming? Let us know in the comments section. 2. Near shelter in the woods. It is not out of place for an occasional venturing into the woods. This, aside providing huge therapeutical relief, can serve as a way for one to reconnect with nature, away from the usual hustle and bustle of the city life. This must have been the thought process of this young man who went into the woods, but upon getting to the wood, he noticed a sort of shelter or house camp set up in the woods. However, since no human was found in that camp, the young man assumed it would not have been a human that set up such a camp that rain or other natural animals could easily get access to and attack the residents. Thus, in a bid to find out what was really inhabiting the place, he set up a camera on a nearby tree, with fingers crossed, and waiting for what the camera might discover whenever he visits the woods again. In order to ensure that he gave sufficient time before returning to the shelter camp, the young man came back after 7 days, but the sight of the shelter home was his first source of worry. By looking at the shelter, it seemed it was altered and possibly a human or perhaps some wild animals had paid a visit to the shelter and thereby altering it from how it used to be 7 days ago. In order to erase all doubts, he resorted to investigate using the camera to know what must have happened. Upon checking the content of the camera, the first thing noticed was an ape-like figure hidden in between the trees. While the figure raised some doubts as to whether that was really a Bigfoot or an ape, or perhaps if there was nothing there at all. The logical response appears to be that apes don't grow to be 7 feet tall. Thus, whatever that was, it definitely is not an ape, and there is a huge chance that it would be a Bigfoot. As a further step in proving the existence of the Bigfoot, young man uploaded a daylight video showing the Bigfoot beast. Truly, this was the dreaded legend, present in the woods as we could tell from the mannerisms of the beast. From mere looking at the picture, we can tell that it is covered with huge furs, so that eradicates the doubt of it being a human disguising. Also, as we look further in how the beast moved about around the makeshift shelter, it seemed as if the beast was grinding something with some sticks, which further proves our assumption that the beast acts like a primitive man. As the young man zoomed the camera further, we could make a picture out of the giant head of the animal, and it is nothing like that of a gorilla or an ape. It truly must be a Bigfoot. As the young man showed the camera capture from another angle, it became more clear. Moreover, this young man should be thanking his stars, as nobody knows what could have happened if the young man was left alone in the makeshift camp when the beast paid a visit at night. 3. Into the woods. There has been a lot of beliefs that Bigfoot creatures are usually found at night or when everywhere is almost dark. This must have prompted this young man who paid a visit to the woods in broad daylight and had a shocking encounter. Perhaps seeing that he was alone, this young man figured out that that was the best time for these creatures to come out to the open. It was a brave move by the man nonetheless, as this creature of indeed hidden behind the trees could have attacked him. And who knows, he might have been declared missing by now, with nobody to account for what happened to him. Thus, with the camera firmly clutched by the young man was making an overview of the entire place. While looking around with the camera as if to see the strange creature plunge at him, the young man noticed significant marks made on the trees and some noticeable footprints which clearly did not belong to a man. After seeing all these signs, it further prompted the young man to remain at alert, as just when he least expected, the creature could attack him. Well, in that split second, following the discovery of marks on tree trunks, the man sighted the beast far away. And right there it was. The myth seen in flesh and blood. As the young man zoomed in, we could notice a deep similarity between the beast and apes. It appears they are from the same ancestors, but perhaps one thing that stood out was the hairdo of the creature. While the creature's mouth was slightly opened, its hair was tangled as if it were twisted in the Rastafarian style. Since it is rumored that No sees the face of the Bigfoot and lives to tell the story, the young man, upon seeing such an unusual creature, took to his heels. Well, we can't blame the poor man. He should not compromise his safety while exploring. 4. Bigfoot in Russia. It has often been reported that Bigfoot are to be found in North America. However, things took a surprising outcome as the animal was found in faraway Russia. Well, it started off on this day when this man and his son went on a shooting expedition. While they both intended to shoot down some deer or some other commonly seen animal, we know neither of them was prepared to have this encounter that followed. So as the camera was on, possibly to capture whenever a deer comes along, a huge noise was heard in the thick forest, and when the young man directed his camera to the direction of the noise, it was indeed a Bigfoot. That must have been a terrifying sight for the man and his son, as what could have happened if the Bigfoot did not immediately enter the forest and maybe started running towards them instead. It turns out the father was not the only one who saw the creature, as the son too, upon sighting the animal, left his position and went towards his father. This was to be more protected in case the wild beast decides to leave the forest it was heading for before and advance towards them instead. Well, knowing fully well that there are a lot of critics online who might disagree with the clear image of the beast, the young man zoomed it in further. Certainly from the zooming in, it is clear that the creature indeed was a Bigfoot, judging from its pace, its movement, its height, and lastly the higher size of the beast. This calls for the appropriate authorities to take note, as well as for humans to be more careful, especially when wandering in the woods or living near the woods. Having seen all these videos captured on the camera, what are your thoughts? Do you believe these creatures are real, or are they figment of people's imaginations? Please kindly let us know in the comments section. Well, if you got to the end of the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like, share, and turn on the post notification button so you don't miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.